Hello guys, welcome back. Now in this tutorial, we are going to create another flow. And let's go ahead and take a look at the requirements here. So the requirements are, Jennifer is working as a system admin at Universal Container. She has developed a flow to get the sales reps feedback on closed opportunities. She wants to use the opportunity object specific action to launch it. So a couple of things that we need to see from this requirement is, first thing is there is going to be a flow, and the flow is to take the feedback. So basically like a survey we are going to do, and this flow is going to be launched through an object only for a opportunity records. Okay, so this flow can be launched from opportunity records only for the records where the opportunity is closed. Okay, so you can see here we are going to create a object specific action on the opportunity object to launch this survey. So this is what the requirement is. So the first thing is we need to create a flow which is for the survey purpose. Okay, and how the survey form looks like I'll show you in a minute. Then this flow needs to be launched using the object specific action, opportunity object specific action. Okay, so this is going to be launched from an opportunity record. So there is going to be a new action we are going to create on the opportunity object, and that action is going to launch this flow. And then the next thing is, not all the opportunity records will have this action, only the closed opportunity. So we will only display this action whenever the opportunities are closed. Otherwise that action is not going to be available. Now, a point to note here is we are not storing the response of the survey in any object. Okay, we are not creating any feedback object or something, because you have done something similar in the previous tutorial. Through this flow, I want to talk about decision element. Okay, and I'll tell you how we are going to use that in a minute. So let's take a look at what the flow is going to be looking like. Okay, so the flow will look like this. So the flow will have two screens. The first screen is, this is the one, this is going to be the first screen, and this is going to be the second screen. So on the first screen, this is a simple display text that we are going to show that will say, are you ready for survey? And then there is going to be a pick list field that we are going to drop, and the pick list values would be yes or no. So are you ready for survey? If the user has chosen yes, only then this screen would be displayed. If the user has chosen no, then we are not doing anything. Okay, so remember that. So this particular screen is conditional. Only if the user has selected yes in this, then only the screen would be shown, and this screen will ask for few information: the name, email address, the rating. Okay, so the rating value, and then a simple text to get the comments of the user. Okay, so this is the flow that we're going to build. So let's first focus on building the flow, and then we will talk about how we're going to launch that flow in the next tutorial. But let's go ahead and build the flow. So the first thing is, I'm going to go back to my Salesforce here. So let's go, and I'm under the flows, and let's create a new flow, and I'm going to call this, it's going to be a screen flow. Hit the next here. It's free form, so I'm going to decide. And first thing is, I'm going to drop a screen element, and this screen element is for survey. Okay, that is going to be the screen name. We're going to call it survey, and then we are going to have a display text. Okay, so here the display text for survey, that's the API name, and what the text will say, it will say, are you ready to take the survey? Okay, and I want this to be in bold, so I'm going to move this closer, and I'm going to go ahead and do bold here. That's it. And then the next thing is, I'm going to have a pick list. Okay, because we want the user to answer if he's interested in taking a survey or not. So we're going to have a pick list here, and then the label on the pick list, are you ready for survey? And then the API name would be this. And this pick list, we are only allowing user to only choose one value at a time, not selecting multiple options. And here the choice would be yes. So I'm going to create the choice, and then the second option that we're going to give to the user would be no. And then this one, I'm going to make it a required field. Okay, so I'm going to click on this checkbox. So they have to answer this to this question. Okay, and then we will leave everything as it is. If you want, you can play around with which buttons you want to show, or do you want to show the pause button and all that. I will leave it up to you guys. and then let's go ahead and hit the done. So this is the first screen that I've created, and I'm going to connect these elements with this start. Okay. Now the next thing is we have to show another screen. Okay, let's just create the screen, but that screen is not going to be displayed to you all the time. Only in a particular condition the next screen will pop up. Okay, so here I'm going to say, I'm going to call it as survey, and this is going to be survey screen. And on the screen we are going to first ask the user for his name. So I'm going to go ahead and display the text field. You can use the name field as well, but we're not going to do that. So we're going to say name, then that's going to be the API name. Then the other field is going to be for the email. So I'm going to go ahead and drop the email as well. So just go ahead and choose the email. This is going to be the API name would be email address. Label is just going to be email. Now it's not going to be a read only, so false. Do you want it to make it required? Yes, because then later on I might want to send email or anything of that sort, then I will need the email address. Okay, and I also want him to enter his name as well, which is required. So I'm making name and email as required field. Then the next one is the rating, right? So we're going to choose pick list. So I'm going to go ahead and drop this pick list here on the screen, and this is going to be called as rating. And I'm going to make this as required as well, because these are the three most important information. If you're planning on taking a survey, you have to give your name, you have to give your email, and you have to provide the rating, because that's what the survey is for. Now the pick list component type is pick list, and you can choose radio buttons, and on the screen we want to display radio buttons. Okay, so the radio buttons are going to be showing. Now what do you want the choices to be? I'm going to give 1, that's the first choice, then the second choice, then the third would be number 3, and number 4, and then the last one would be number 5. Okay, so these are the 5 choices that is going to be displayed. And then we're going to go ahead and last thing that we're going to add would be the text area. Okay, so that's going to be for user to enter what do you call comments. Okay, so this is going to be comments, the API name, and this is not a required field because sometimes users just want to give the rating and that's it. So the comments is not required, and then hit the done. So this is the other screen. Now we can't connect these two, because then what will happen is even if the screen on this one says no, the user is still going to see the next screen, but we don't want that. Okay, so we only want to show this particular screen only when the user has interested in giving a review. Okay, so now we're going to add a decision element in here. So this decision element, okay, if interested in survey, that is what the decision element we are naming it. And you can have outcomes like, okay, what can be the output of this? Okay, so we can call it as interested, and the other one will call it as not interested. Okay, so we're going to call it as not interested, but that's going to be the default. Okay, interested, when we are going to call it as interested, only when the previous pick list value. Okay, so the pick list value is, are you ready for the survey, right? If this equals to what? If this equals yes, that is what the choice is. If this value equals yes, that means the user is interested. So we're going to go ahead and say that, okay, there are going to be 2 outcomes that can be possible on this. Okay, interested in survey. So the first thing is the outcome is going to be interested when the user has answered yes on that pick list. Okay, otherwise the default would be automatically will be no. Okay, if the user has entered something else, then that's going to be the default outcome. So I'm going to go ahead and you can add a new outcome as well. You can create a not interested one as well, but we don't have what you want to do in case the user answers no. So we'll go ahead and just leave it as it is, but I'm going to go and show you that, okay, there's going to be an interested outcome, and that is when are you ready for surveys equals to yes. Then hit the done button. Now we're going to connect these two, and then we're going to connect these two. So now it's asking in what circumstances this screen needs to be displayed. So only when the outcome is interested. Okay, not the default one. Default means if anything else besides yes. So interested, and then hit the done. So only when the outcome is interested, only if the user has chosen yes, then only the screen would be shown. And if let's say you want to show a different screen, then you can create that different screen and you can show that screen only if the decision is no. Okay, So let's go ahead and enhance that in the next tutorial, but for the timing, let's just do this part because that's what the requirement is. So let's go ahead and hit the save, and I'm going to call this as survey flow and then hit the save. Okay, so it's saying the survey flow is there. Oh yeah, I might have created it, but I'm going to call it as survey flow 1, and this API name is 1, and then hit the save. So this is the one, and I'm going to go ahead and run it right now. Let me just test it. So this is the first screen the user is going to see. Are you ready for survey? Now he can either answer yes. If he answers yes, then he will go to the next, and this is the screen that will be displayed. Okay, but if the user is answered no, here and then go to the next, then that second screen is not going to be shown. Okay, so it's working as expected. This screen is only going to be shown if the user has answered yes on this pick list. Okay, so you can see here, if you look at the interested is only when this condition meets. Are you ready for survey is equals to yes? That is mean the user is interested in taking a survey, and then only the second screen would be shown. So this is like a if block that we have built. Now let's go ahead and activate this one. And what we're going to do is, in the next tutorial, we will also add the second screen, which will only get displayed when the survey answer is no. And then we will invoke this flow from the opportunity records for the opportunities which are in closed status. Okay, let's go ahead and work on that in the next part of the tutorial. So I'm going to see you then. Thank you so much. Take care.